Now, such occurrences were very dramatic, but unfortunately, many millions of barrels of oil were lost, never to again be recovered. Now, today, such occurrences are not very common because drilling for oil has become a highly scientific operation.
Just south of Yellowstone, they are doing fracking up there, guys. You should be aware that they are fracking near Yellowstone, even in the same state as Yellowstone. Bad idea, in my opinion, personally.
Because drilling for oil has become a highly scientific operation.
An earthquake sends waves through the earth as does a pebble dropped in a body of water. Large buildings can be destroyed as the shock waves caused by great displacement or movement of the earth's surface pass under them. The greater the effect of the surrounding area, the greater the distance at which it will be felt.
We got an earthquake problem, man. You know.
This is something that we're going to have to address as a society. Look, people aren't going to listen until more people die. What's it going to take? Something like happened over in Italy back in 2012 when all those people died in that fracking earthquake that got buried really quick in the news and nobody talks about it to this day? I mean, is it going to take something like that in the Midwest before people wake up and listen and start demanding a little bit of change to this? Look, guys, I feel like I'm kind of a lone voice out here in the wilderness when it comes to fracking earthquakes causing serious damage.
I'm here with you, buddy. This is not a subject I talked about much, but I'm talking about it now. And I really like Dutch's approach on, hey, we're not here to blame people. We're here to mitigate damage. And that's what we can do. We can understand the problems we face, and then we can tackle them head on as a group. So I say you're not alone, Dutch.
The professionals have come out and admitted it.
Stay cool. This is a Thor News presentation. Hit the button, baby. Thor News presents.
A lot of news has come out lately about earthquakes and how Oklahoma has overtaken California as the ultimate earthquake hotspot, which is very bad and also very weird, extremely troubling. We are looking at an animation by revealnews.org. I gotta say I'm proud of Dutch. Earthquakes is something that I've been keeping my eye on probably 100 times more than you hear me talk about. I'm very concerned about earthquakes, especially since I live in Texas and Dallas, which is almost right below this super earthquake spot where most of the activity seems to be taking place. And we've had swarms of earthquakes in Irving lately, which is near Dallas. There was news of some new old fault that they were talking about.
It's a big-time threat. It can grow. We need to address it before it gets too big. Now is the time to address it. What we have here is some breaking news on fracking earthquakes disclosed by professionals. Oklahoma is now more seismically active than California, as measured by the number of earthquakes of magnitude 3.0 and greater per year per square kilometer. And this article is pretty profound. She talks about how the fracking earthquake problem is going to grow in size and scope. So we're going to see larger earthquakes and in greater areas. So this is a big development, especially for a professional of this magnitude to come out, no pun intended on magnitude, but of this caliber to come out and admit that it's going to be growing. The seismologist up in Canada is correct. Oklahoma, Midwest, the fracking operations are showing more movement than the West Coast. Last 24 hours shows it. Look at the Midwest, number of earthquakes compared to the West Coast. And we can look over the last 7 days. And again, Midwest versus West Coast. We might be 50-50 split right there because of the activity of the dormant volcanoes right now, due to the activity in the West Pacific that's showing as deep as stenosphere earthquakes, these earthquakes that are raised high off the globe. That indicates depth into the earth. And so we have a huge amount of earthquakes happening in the West Pacific, which is displacing the magma chambers along the West Coast and Central America as well, producing multiple volcanic eruptions down in Guatemala, Mexico, and dormant volcano movement at multiple dormant volcanoes up the West Coast, and producing multiple 4.0 earthquakes over the last several days, and over the last couple weeks, up to a dozen 4.0 earthquakes and greater in the Midwest at the fracking operations. All of these, every single one of them, below a frack well. This earthquake down here in New Mexico, below a dormant volcano. Also, this 2.7 below a dormant volcano. These 3 different earthquakes in Utah below a dormant volcano. And the earthquake up here, or the swarm of earthquakes now, at the western Yellowstone magma chamber. Also, I guess technically a dormant volcano. You should be aware that they are fracking near Yellowstone, even in the same state as Yellowstone. Bad idea. in my opinion, personally.
Drilling for oil has become a highly scientific operation.
Volcanoes.
Well, actually, in your work, you use a variety of scientists, such as geologists, physicists, mathematicians, chemists, and many others, to determine just where you're going to drill.
Earl, finding oil these days is a very highly scientific sort of a thing, and we use all of these people that you mentioned.